Our church was a church in a neighborhood that had changed from the time it was established to the way it is now. Our church had been a church of middle-class families, and those families migrated out to the suburbs, and our church had become very disconnected with our community. So, realizing that, we thought that one way we could get to know our community was by providing a meal once a week. So a group of us decided we would do that, and we started going out on the streets and asking people to come. And we were very naive. We thought, we could provide a low-cost pasta dinner, and that's all we could afford because our church is not very wealthy. So, but people said, no, we don't want any more pasta. We get pasta every day at our the lunch program that's provided for us. So we made a pact with some people that said they'd come if we had something else, and we decided we would not serve pasta. And about that time we learned about food share, and we became aware of the good quality meat and fresh vegetables and fruit, and we were actually overwhelmed by the generosity of the people, of the stores, and of the markets that supply the food to food share and the government subsidies. And as we got to know our community, because they started coming, we were able to find out how desperately people were for vegetables, for something other than pasta, which is a good, is something to eat. It's something you can have in your cupboard that's not going to go bad or anything, but it's not going to provide you with the nutrients your body needs. And not only that, we became aware of how isolated and lonely so many people in our neighborhood were. Because for people to get to know each other, people need to be able to gather. And that's what we called our meal once a week. We call it our Friday gathering. And we open the doors at 4:30, and people have an hour and a half they can come in. They gather with their friends, they get to know new friends, and we put out a salad bar at 4:30, and then we serve our meal at 6. And after that, people can stay for our prayer circle if they wish. So we've now been doing that for over 6 years, and we could never do that without the food share program, without CT NAP, without TFAP, without all the support that food share gets to provide that meal. And we've gotten to know the people in our neighborhood. We've got to know how they live. There'll be somebody knocking on the door just about every day needing something, and if we can't do it, we've now learned where to direct them so that they can go get the assistance they need. I remember one young couple that had started coming, and they volunteered, and they were great, and it had been about 2 years, and we hadn't seen them for a couple months, but they arrived at the door one day, and I think it was in April, and it was cold and rainy, and the young woman had just had a new baby. The baby was only a week or at most 2 weeks old, and they'd gone to the shelter, and the shelter had turned them away. They would accept her husband. They had gotten married, but they would not accept the young woman because she had got into some sort of altercation there several years before that. And she had grown up with a drug-addicted father. I don't know what happened to her mother. And certainly she had problems, but she had worked out a lot of those problems. But they looked up her history and they said, no, you can't stay. And I was like, what? That's heartbreaking. So they stayed at the church all day, and we made phone calls, and we placed them with a member of our church. That's because we knew them. They had been coming for dinner. They had washed dishes with us. They had mopped the floor. You can't get to know people in your neighborhood unless there's some way that you can, some reason for them to come, some reason. And food is one of the best reasons I can think of, sharing a meal with somebody. What do you do when you meet someone new? You have a coffee with them and you have lunch with them. You get to know them. So, you know, I just say thank you to Food Share for letting us get to know our community.